It's Friday then. Saturday, Sunday, what?
Liz is singing a song that I want to know if anyone else knows what she's talking about, because I have no freaking clue what she's doing.
And I just got really nervous. I actually can really sing, but I get so nervous like singing in front of people. That's why I never do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm belting things out in my car, I'm like, I should record this because this is pretty damn good.
I feel like we're having a lot of fun facts lately. My mom was a music and drama teacher her entire, career.
Yeah.
So I grew up singing, dancing. I was in show choir all through middle school. Like,
I didn't know you were in show choir.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Did show choir, went to Disney World and performed there.
Me too.
Yup.
Oh my gosh.
The sweet character shoes that you would wear and like all of the sequiny outfits.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I wonder if we were, because so fun fact about Becca and Liz, we're almost like a month apart, like very close.
Yeah, we're
like
very close in age.
5-6 weeks apart. She's 5-6 weeks older than me. We probably were at Disney at the same time.
Might have been.
We performed at Epcot.
Yeah, we did too. We performed, I went to Hinsdale Middle School.
Okay, so I was in an all-city show choir since I was homeschooled, and we were more of like a hip-hop show choir. We did like crazy stuff, but traditional show choir stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to compare the years that we were at Disney and performing, because that would be wild if you were there and I was there. We just didn't know each other.
Yeah, we would perform at Epcot.
Did you go in like a huge charter bus down there?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we flew and then
we went by a charter bus.
Yeah, we flew. Oh gosh, and my mom did it like with all of her students, because that was part of what you did in show choir in middle school.
Oh my gosh. Well, we were in high school. So we were in high school, so it probably was
probably
different.
not the same. I was in
because
middle
we
school.
also got our rooms rated because there was a kid who brought weed with him and the director found out, and so they rated everyone's room, and we were like, what is going on? We're like the innocent kids that were like, what is going on? Anyways,
we were young.
Fun times.
Okay, so today we are smacking down the hard truth that everyone has time. We hear a lot. I'm too busy. I don't have the time. I can't find time to fit it in. And if you are our clients, you've probably heard me say this before, because one of our mentors gave us this example, and we love him, but he used to work in a clinical. He used to work in a clinical setting at a clinic, like an age clinic, and he would tell clients, because they would say, I don't have time to make these changes. And he would say, well, if your doctor told you in 2 weeks, if you don't make these changes, you'll die, you would likely find the time to make the changes. Yep. And so it's not about the time, guys. It's about priorities. And it is about how badly you want these changes and what you're willing to do for them. And here's the thing, like, no judgment. If you're not ready to make the changes in your life, stop beating yourself up over it. Accept that you're not ready to make the changes in your life. But if you have been that person that year after year, time after time, you don't show up for yourself, or you fail to prioritize yourself, then you need to have a hard look in the mirror and realize that it isn't about the time. We're all busy in this life. Everyone has different levels of busyness. It is about prioritizing you and what you want.
100%. And this is where I think you have to take a hard look at where your time goes. Like, if you don't have time to get up 20 to 30 minutes, earlier, or you don't have time to fit in a workout 45 minutes, let's say 2 to 3 times a week, those are very small percentages of your week. Where's your time going? And
Instagram.
Here's what I would challenge a lot of people. Like, you either watch TV too much, you either eat and drink poorly, and so you're tired all the time, meaning that you can sleep 8, 9, 10 hours and still be tired. You might be hungover. Like, you might just be scrolling social media. Maybe you're, reading about crypto coin right now, or you're, researching houses, or you're just wasting a bunch of time gossiping with your coworkers. You have time. And this is one thing. Sometimes we get really, precise with our clients, and we have them track every half hour of their day. Where is it going? Where is it being spent? Because I promise you, you have a lot more time than you think that you have. And so if you have goals that you truly desire to achieve, we need to first take a look at, like, where's the time being spent, so that we can get some time back and like redistribute that time to the areas or the buckets that serve you. So whether this is weight loss and working out, whether this is a hobby that you want to improve upon, a skill that you want to learn, maybe going back to school and studying, like, there are so many people. And Becca and I like to think we're pretty high achievers, but I look up to people who are even higher than us. And I think, oh my gosh, like they do all of these things. They run multiple 6-figure companies. They go to the gym every day. They have a beautiful home. They take care of dogs. They take care of kids. Like, it's crazy what we can do with our time if we manage our time. But if you are not in control of your time and managing your time, you're basically being robbed.
Yeah. And I think in this situation, very common feeling for people is overwhelm. Like they feel overwhelmed by everything they have to do, but they aren't taking action on it, which is the biggest disconnect and problem that I see is I'm so stressed by all these things and work and the kids and, you know, fitting in this workout and doing these, nutritional changes or whatever it is. And so we basically stay paralyzed by this overwhelm that we feel versus just starting to take small actions, which is what Liz and I preach over and over and over again. You guys, this does not have to be an overhaul of your life. Very few people succeed with total overhauls of their life because it's their life for a reason. Like you need to understand your lifestyle and what you need balance with that to be maintainable and sustainable for yourself. And so we have to look back though at like, what are you overwhelmed by and what have you done about it? Like, are you overwhelmed by work stress? Okay. Well, I'm going to bet that, you should not be expected to work 14 hours a day. And so if you are working 14 hours a day, maybe we're lacking some productivity during those hours. Or are you not creating good boundaries for yourself? And you're not saying no to anyone ever. So now you've taken on way too much. And now you're basically, just serving others and never serving yourself. And so there's a lot of things that we need to come back and evaluate in terms of our priorities and in terms of why we're in the situation we're in, what decisions have gotten us there and what can come out of it. So like for me, I remember not too long ago, actually, when like Liz and I talk about this a lot, there's so much we want for our company. There's so much we want for our clients and for the people that we serve. And, it's really just Liz, myself, Art, Courtney, Kate, like a couple of our coaches. That's about it. And we want to produce content. We want to produce podcasts. We have clients, dozens of clients that we coach multiple hours a week. Like there's a lot that we give to our clients.
Continuous education,
mentorships, more learning opportunities, interviewing people. Like there's so much that we want to do. There is not enough time in the day. And there were a lot of days that I would try to work all day. Like when I was with Carson, I would try to still be answering emails. I would still trying to be like, answering Facebook messages or whatever it was. And I just found I was not productive during that time. And I was not connected with him. And so I had to create boundaries there to be more productive in the time that I was allowed to be productive in, and then commit my time to him when I was with him. And so like we have to separate because it seems like a lot of things bleed into each other and then they're not actually ever any of them being effective.
Yeah.
And so we talk about time blocking all the time and also our morning routine.
Yeah. And I think you just brought up something that made me like think about resentment with this, right? So we are in this place, we feel really overwhelmed. You have two coaches that are pushing you and telling you like you do have the time. And at some point there can be this feeling of resentment, like because we're trying to implement big changes, right? Changes that take us out of our comfort zone. But there's two types of resentment in the scenario that I'm personally thinking of, is that I find the time for myself so that I can then show up better and more productive in my work to get time back later. Then I'm not as resentful because I feel like I'm working 24/7 and there's no break.
Yep.
You heard you ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening to this a few weeks ago, you probably heard me talk about one of the things I've been trying to implement is that I'm not working on Sundays and then I'm not answering emails and I'm not doing, Facebook messaging and things on Sundays because I was getting to a place where I felt like we just never had a break. And that's totally fine because I'm passionate about what we do and I love what we do. So no, not every day it feels like work, but we all need those breaks, right? We all need that time to be present with our family and to enjoy your children, to enjoy your spouse, to just be present in what you're doing with your life. But that all tied back to me, right? And that stemmed from me making sure that I was being ultra productive with the time that I had to work. And so even as we've learned to grow and, evolve as a company, evolve as coaches, it's a situation too where like there's this constant evaluation of like, what could I be doing better? Where can I, maximize my time? What can I delegate? Things like that. So if you're someone right now who's listening to this and you're like, yeah, I can, relate to that, just please know that you are not alone. But it does all start with your morning routine. We say this all the time. How you start your day is how you're going to win your day. And this is why we created our Win the Day journal, because we teach you how to time block. We teach you how to plan for your week, put your priorities on the list, put other things on your radar, and then you can kind of work your way down so that one, you feel accomplished every day, because there's nothing worse than going through day to day, working all day and feeling still defeated. Still feeling like, oh my God, I could keep working until, next September and all of this still wouldn't get done. Now we've broken it down into smaller chunks, priorities that have to get done that will help drive things forward. And then we can get to the smaller things that are on our radar. Okay. So that's why we created that. But let's talk about your morning routine. A lot of people say like, I'm not a morning person, or I've tried in the past and it just never stuck, or, I just don't have time for me. I don't prioritize myself. But then when we take a look at, sleep schedules, day-to-day schedules, what we find is you actually do have time if you are willing to make some changes and sacrifice some things. So fun fact, you might feel like you're a night owl and, you're just not a morning person. There are plenty of people out there who run successful businesses that do a lot of their very productive work at night. That works for them. Those individuals that I know of, at least, like, don't have children and don't have to be up early in the morning to be at, a place at 8 a.m. and things like that.
Getting your kid out of the house.
So their schedules are shifted a little bit. For majority of people that like maybe, in our community, you're either working or you're a working mom and you do have to be, at a place or on Zoom or whatever at 8, 9 a.m. So here's your opportunity to get your sleep schedule in line with your goals so that you can wake up 20 to 30 minutes and have time for yourself. And that time for yourself, it's going to need to look like whatever you need it to look like that aligns with your goals. And so we're going to give you some examples in terms of, what our morning routine looks like. But what I would say to you is that if you feel like you're not a morning person and this is going to be really hard for you to implement, go back to what we said in the very beginning, evaluate your time. How, what are you doing when you're staying up late at night? Like how much are you watching TV, Netflix, things like that? Are you strict with your routine? Have you communicated your routine to your spouse or significant other to have them help you? Because if you haven't, here's what I'll say, that communication barrier is probably going to cause a lot of problems because you're trying to go one direction, they're trying to go another direction. Like my husband very well knows, don't ask me to watch anything on TV after 9 p.m. because I'm going to turn over and go to sleep on your shoulder, or I'm just going to go upstairs and go to bed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that like for a while, Nick and I definitely had a disconnect on, and it was fine. Like we managed it, but like I went to bed before him for probably close to a year. Before he started going to bed with me, because we realized with Carson, he's in a very early stage of life. He needs us pretty much the entire time we're around him. I have to fit things in before he's awake. Once he's awake, it's kind of like my main focus is getting clothes on him, getting him to brush his teeth, and getting him to pee in the potty. Like those are my main focuses right now. I do not have time to leave him to his own devices and go and do what I need to do in the morning. It won't get done. And so I know I have to get up. I have to work out. I have to get my shower in. I have to be basically dressed and ready to go before I even try attempting to wake up my child. And with Nick, what we realized is nighttime in the afternoon, like that's our only time with Carson, And so he's at daycare or he's with the grandmas all day. And so for him to have time with Carson at night, he can't work out in the evening like he used to. Like Nick and I used to work out in the afternoon after work sometimes in the mornings, but like that was not an option any longer when we had young children. And so now we know it's pretty much like we get Carson down around 8:15, we eat dinner, we watch maybe one show, we clean up, we go to bed. And my husband knows my mannerisms. He knows when I like look at him and sigh, he's like, you basically have nonverbal cues that you want to go to bed right now.
That's the best. I wonder what Art would say my nonverbal cues are. Because I literally just turn over and go to sleep.
I look at him and he like, I don't need to say anything. He's like, you want to go to bed? And I'm like, yes. And sometimes now Nick is the person that he's like, I'm ready to go to bed when you are. Because I'm usually working at night, to be honest. And so we've had to shift our schedule as life changed. And to be honest, I cannot wake up at 5:15 unless I'm in bed by 9:30. Like if I'm in bed at 10, 10:30, 11, there's no chance I'm waking up at 5:15 rested, ready to go and work out. I'll be honest, like most days when my alarm goes off at 5:15, I still don't want to get out of bed. I'm like, my bed's nice and comfy. I'm still probably a little tired. Like I've been sleeping relatively well this pregnancy, luckily, but I still would love to keep sleeping, but at the end of the day, that's the only time I have. That is the only time that works for me. And so I have to make it work. And I've shifted the rest of my life to make it work because most of the time we just fight. We feel this resistance and we just fight it. Mm-hmm. I don't have the time. I try to find a time. I try to do it over my lunch hour, but then I get busy with work. I try to do it after work, but then kid stuff comes up. We allow these things to get in the way. The only undivided attention time that I have for myself is when no one else is awake. It's just how it is. It's when no one is emailing me yet. No one is messaging me yet. I can do what I want to do and it's my selfish time. Yep.
100%. So now we got to ask the question, how do you stay motivated to do this? Mm-hmm. How do you stay motivated to get up at 5:15 every day? Well, you want to know the raw, honest truth? We don't.
Nope.
I can't tell you the last time that I woke up just like wide-eyed at 5:05, ready to go and crush a workout. It's not easy. And we're not here to tell you that it is easy and to say that it's rainbows and butterflies, especially when it's cold and it's rainy and it's dark outside at 5:15 in the morning. It's not. But here's the thing is we don't rely on motivation because I don't know anyone who has achieved a goal solely relying on motivation. Because it's not there 95% of the time,
Nope.
And it's funny, I was thinking about this morning as I was getting up and I was feeling really exhausted. I slept really good, but I was like in that deep sleep when my alarm went off. So I was like, gosh, like I don't want to get up and go to the gym, but this is the only time that I have to do it. And I was thinking as I was getting ready, every single day, I learned some things over and over again. Okay, I learned how to be disciplined over and over again. I learned how to train my mind over and over again because my mind tries to negotiate with me. It tries to tell me stories. Oh, you can do your lift. It's only bench and overhead today. You can do it after Becca leaves. Art can go get Marcus. Here's the thing, at 5:00, that's the last thing I'm going to want to do. I'm going to be mentally drained. So I also learn every day how to love myself and my child and my husband over and over again. And so this is actually like one of the lessons from church this past week. They were talking about just like how we continue to learn things over and over. And I just got to thinking like, I learned something every single day that I do things that I don't want to do, either about myself or my capabilities. Yep. And so, I was thinking also about a conversation that I had with my strength coach when she asked me, on our first calls, like what type of, coaching do you like? What do you respond to? How do you feel like, you get motivated to go to the gym? And I flat out told her like, maybe it helps that I'm a coach too, but like, I don't believe in motivation. No. Like you write me a program, it's there, I go, I do it. It doesn't matter how I feel. I will pivot. I will adjust. I will rearrange things to get it done because this is what I've hired you to do. I have hired you to create a program to help make me stronger and to push me out of my comfort zone. And so what is the point in me doing this if I'm not going to follow it? And so I don't rely on motivation. And so I think this is where like you've got to evaluate. And as Becca said in the beginning of this, if you're not ready to make the changes, like then you need to be okay with that right now. Maybe you're in a really tough season of life and you're having to navigate some really tough waters. Then yes, you give yourself some grace and you understand like you're doing the best that you can.
Yep.
But I'll also tell you, we have many clients navigating really rocky, rough waters right now. They're doing the best they can, keeping themselves as a priority. It's not maybe what it looked like a year ago. It's nothing like my self-care is not, anything close to what it looked like prior to Marcus, totally. And so this is where, everybody's going to be in a different situation. The point is, if your goals are important, there's going to need to be sacrifices made. And so sometimes that is going to require you getting your ass out of bed when you don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want this to come off the wrong way. And I was, as you were talking, I was trying to think about how to phrase it. Our job is not to motivate you. Liz and I did not get into this to motivate people. Like we got in this to help people figure out their health that they can't figure out on their own. But if we are giving what needs to be done, if we are recommending things, if we are giving protocols, we're giving very specific actions to take, and you aren't able to take them, that's not what we are here for. That is something that you probably need to visit internally. And we talk about the mindset with all of our clients. Like that is addressed. But if this is something that like you are the type of person, you've followed tons of programs, you've bought tons of meal pamphlets, you've invested in all the different macro calculate, whatever it is, and you still are not committing to yourself and following through on things, that's something you have to visit internally. That is not something a coach will fix. That is not what coaches are intended for. Coaches, in my belief, are intended to take you to the next level. They are intended to help you figure out what you can't figure out yet. And if, that mindset piece is what you struggle with the most, then that needs to be what is focused on. And you need to be okay with like, maybe weight loss isn't the goal right now. Maybe it's figuring out why you keep getting in your own way and knowing that there is a priority list here of what needs to be accomplished for you to be successful. But our job as coaches, like, I did not get into this business to handhold someone and tell them like, this is exactly what you need to do. And I'm going to text you every single day and make sure you're doing it. And if you're not, then like, what else, what more time? Like, that's not what we're here for. We're here for taking you to the next level and helping you figure out physical health problems that you haven't been able to figure out on your own, and helping you with the mindset piece that sometimes comes along with that. But if even with all of the support, all of the accountability, all of the tools provided to you, you're still not able to make those changes, like Liz was saying, you need to look in the mirror and you need to decide, is this really what I want? Yeah. Because you seem to keep getting in your way with that. And so if that came off harsh, then maybe that hits you in the gut and that's what you needed to hear. But like, that's not what we are as coaches. We as coaches are to obviously support, hold you accountable in those ways, certain ways, and help you get out of your comfort zone. But if you're given everything and you're still not putting it into action, then that's something you need to visit yourself.
100%. And, there's nothing wrong with needing a little extra like tough love or accountability. Like, we do have some clients who check in with us every day and they show us like, morning walk done, workout done. That's one of the things.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Because you're putting it into action.
Right.
You are doing what is being asked.
Right. Yeah. They're willing to put in the work. And where I was going with this is that if that hit you in the gut, I just want you to think about like the fact that like you're not where you want to be. Maybe that's the message you needed to hear. And don't take it, too harshly. It's all from a place of love, but that also should be enough motivation for you to work as hard as you possibly can and to start taking action every day. When that alarm goes off, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's no negotiation in your mind. Like, you got to just get up and you got to just start. Even if that means like, instead of saying, I'm going to work out in the morning, maybe you just get up and you go for a short 10-minute walk and then you have your coffee, and all those things. Like, it can look very different for everyone.
Totally.
Sometimes, for our ladies that we coach, morning routine is not working out. In fact, it is just their time for themselves to keep their sanity, like their sane
and
time.
Just have quiet.
Yes.
Have quiet. just drink coffee, scroll through your Instagram if you want, like, and just not have input from your children or from your husband or whatever it is. Like, you need time to disconnect. You need time for yourself. And for many of us, especially moms, guys, that morning is the only time that there is.
Yeah.
It really is. And so like Liz was saying, if that is the only time for the workout, but the workout just isn't happening and you're really struggling with it, start with a short walk. Like, if waking up an hour earlier is just really hard right now, start with 20 minutes earlier and take those 20 minutes to go for a 10-minute walk, make coffee and have that time. Maybe throw on a little bit of makeup, like have that time just in quiet peace to yourself. And then you go get the kids. But like, when you wake up to the kids at your bedside, that's not a good feeling to start your day. Like, you're chasing your tail already from the start. And this is the main reason that I will not put my child out of his crib yet, because he hasn't tried climbing out. And I told Nick, I was like, he can sleep in his crib until he's fucking 18 right now. I don't care. Like, that kid isn't getting out of bed and coming to wake us up, which I feel like he will as soon as we put him in a normal bed. And he's not even 3 yet. So we've got some time. But like, if your kids are waking you up versus you are the one, going to get them, or you're already put together and you feel, composed at that time, that's where we're running into a problem, because then you never have time for yourself. Of course you feel stressed. Of course you feel overwhelmed. We need that morning time. So maybe that's your time that you time block for the day. I will be honest, if I did not time block my day and know when I was going to get done nothing would get accomplished.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because you'd just be flying by the seat of your pants, like hoping that all of your things, got done. So what do our mornings look like? Well, here's the thing. Every day is a bit different because Becca and I do not train 7 days of the week. So I'll just, kind of briefly touch on mine and she can touch on hers. But I usually get up around 5:15. Sometimes it's like 5:20. Depends too, like what I have on the docket. Sometimes it's 5 a.m. Last week it was 4:45 because I just needed to get up and get some things done. And now Marcus is waking up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Which is real rough. I'm really hoping that we can push him back to 7 again because that was the beautiful time for me. But at 4 days a week, I am in the gym. 2 of those happen during the week. I'm there working out either by 5:45 or 6. First things first, though, if you're a coffee lover like me, coffee is always involved. So I usually get up, I, have my coffee, I drink water first before that though. And then, if I'm headed out the door to the gym or to my garage to the gym, I start stretching and start my workout. If I am not going to the gym, it is either comprised of one of 2 things. One, usually being work and preparation for the day. We do partner and write content for other companies, Top Notch Nutrition. Many of you know that. So if there's something, there that needs to be done, that's taking precedent. Otherwise, it's continuous education and studying and doing case studies and researching and reading articles and things like that. So that's not always just like a me time to sit in peace and quiet. I do, however, do that one of the 2 days on the weekend. Usually that's coffee. It's me throwing in a load of laundry, maybe making a grocery shopping list. Like it kind of varies on what I feel like I need and what my week has ended like. Honestly, last week, the week ended, pretty much with a bang, and I was working till 8 o'clock on Friday night. So it was nice because Saturday I didn't have anything that I needed to get up and crush and get done before the day. So things just looked a little bit different. So, I know Becca's very similar, but I also think it's really important to sit down and create your priority list and plan for your day. We usually do this like ahead of time though, since we are partners. We'll split up the day prior. We know what's coming on the next day, and we know who's doing what. So we divvy those things out. But if you are in, let's say like a corporate setting, or you are also taking on like kids sports and, all of these other things, like I think it's important for you to stay organized as much as you possibly can, because that will take away some of that chaos that's in your mind.
Totally.
And this is one thing we see a lot of our women struggle with, is they feel like they don't have the time for themselves because there's just like organized chaos everywhere, but it's really not organized. It's just pretty much chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, take that time for you. And like Becca said, it doesn't need to be an hour. It doesn't need to be 5:15. Maybe your kids sleep till 7:30 or 8, or you have a partner that helps, rally your kids in the morning and you can have a little extra time to work out. Everybody is different, but here's what I want to kind of close this out with is, number 1, decide how much your goals matter to you. If you need to do some readjusting, like recognize that change requires sacrifice. So you need to decide what sacrifices you're willing to make. And if you're willing to make this change and pivot, either to get a morning routine in place or to block your calendar a couple days a week to get your workouts in, whatever that looks like for you. And then you just have to start small. You have to take action, whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah. You have to kind of readjust your circadian rhythm too. For a lot of people, that's why we said start small, like go to bed 15, 30 minutes earlier and try and wake up 15, 30 minutes earlier. It doesn't need to be this swing of 2 hours in each direction. Like that's not realistic. And you also are going to have to give your time for your body to adjust. If you're used to waking up at 7 or 6:30 and you're going to try start getting up at 5, it's going to take a little while for your body to not be tired at that time. And you needing to go to bed a little bit earlier, and you're probably not going to feel tired at that time going to bed. And so that's why we say make these small adjustments, because even though you don't feel like you're a morning person, that is a choice for most people. There are certain chronotypes that, yes, do a little bit better. They're kind of like quote unquote night owls. And research does show this, but there's also research that shows that if you take those people and put them in nature where there is no stimulus, there is no blue light, there is no TV or phone, their bodies naturally go back to a normal circadian rhythm of going to bed earlier when the sun goes down, waking up earlier when the sun comes up. And so there's kind of conflicting information out there in terms of the sleep research, but you can become a morning person. It just has to be an intentional action for you to take, and evaluate your schedule. Like if you're really struggling with this, if you're really feeling overwhelmed with everything you have on your plate, take an hour the next day that you have and literally write down what you do in a day. Write down hour by hour what you spend your time doing, how much time you're on social media, how much time you're doing nothing, how much time you're wasting or taking longer to do certain things than maybe you could. I'm totally guilty of this, especially right now when I'm pregnant. Like, this progesterone flow in my body is just making me so non-focused on certain things. And like, I can tell, I can feel it in myself when like I'm not finishing things as quickly as I should be. And you know, at the end of the day, you got, like Liz was saying, you have to evaluate how bad you want this. Like, what are you missing out on most, and implement that as soon as possible. Is it a workout? Okay, start with a 20-minute workout. Start waking up 20 to 30 minutes earlier and just start there. Is it you time? Take that time in the morning to drink coffee, read a book, prioritize your day, time block for the day, write down your to-do list for the day, whatever it is. But start committing to what you need the most in your life, because everyone has the time, guys. It's there. I promise you. You just don't see it yet.